Someone said something kind to you this week. By evening, it was gone. Years ago, someone said something cruel. It is still here, word for word. Tonight, this story is about a bell that rings only for danger, and about the nights nobody counted. Count today, if you can bear the arithmetic. Someone thanked you. Someone said you did well. A message arrived that said exactly the right thing. 10 kind words, maybe more. An ordinary day is full of them, small and quiet as change in a pocket. And then there was the other sentence. Maybe from today. Maybe years old. It was one sentence. It did not need to be more. Now it is night. The kind words have evaporated like water from a glass. You know they existed, but you could not repeat a single one. The other sentence, you can recite. Word for word. With the pause in the middle. 10 of one. 1 of the other. And it is not the 10 that stayed. Why does praise evaporate, while a wound keeps its shape for years? The wounding sentences keep excellent records. They have dates. They have rooms attached. You remember where you were standing, what the light was like, which direction the voice came from. Some of them are decades old and have not lost a single word. The praise has no such file. It arrives, it warms the air for a moment, and then it goes wherever steam goes. If someone asked you to list the good things said about you this year, you would manage 3 or 4, vaguely, without the wording. If someone asked for the worst things ever said to you, you would not even need to search. It is as if memory had a volume dial, and somewhere, long ago, the wounds were set to loud, and the kindness to almost nothing. Watch what happens to a kind word when it arrives. It is met at the door and questioned. They were just being polite. They say that to everyone. They only saw the good part, they don't know the rest. By the time the praise is allowed in, it has been diluted into something too thin to keep. The cruel sentence is asked no questions at all. It walks straight through, and something in you signs for the delivery, files it carefully, and marks it, important. Keep. What is strange is that the source does not seem to decide what stays. A kind word may be examined until almost nothing remains. A cruel one may be admitted without a question. Think of an alarm bell. It is not a diary. It does not record an ordinary hour. Its job is interruption, fire, flood, danger at the gate. When nothing requires warning, it stays quiet. A bell like that can tell you when something went wrong. It cannot tell you how often things were all right. Somewhere in you hangs something like that bell. It has never once rung for the kind words. It was never going to. Then why does it ring so long, and so loudly, for the others? After a while, a quiet answer came. In a town long ago, there was a night watchman. From dusk to first light he walked the streets with a lantern, and above the square hung the bell that was his to ring. The rule of his trade was simple: ring for fire, ring for flood, ring for a stranger climbing the wall. For everything else, silence. Most nights were everything else. By the end of his years he had walked 10,000 of them. The dogs knew his footsteps. He knew the town sleep the way other men knew its streets, rain on the granary roof, wind over the wall, a loose shutter somewhere, knocking softly until morning. None of it called for the bell rope. He watched the town sleep, season after season, and on almost every one of those nights, he touched the bell rope not once. The town kept a chronicle. And a chronicle records what makes a sound. The night the granary burned. The winter the river came up over the road. The autumn a thief was caught at the gates. 40 entries. Years later, a girl found the chronicle in the archive and read it cover to cover, and it frightened her. It read like a book of fires. She carried it to the old watchman and asked, was the town always in danger? The watchman turned the pages slowly. The bell does not ring for quiet nights, he said. I walked 10,000. This book remembers 40. Here is the part the town never had to live with. Their bell fell silent when the fire was out. Yours keeps ringing. The person who said it may have forgotten the moment entirely. They may have moved on long ago. The moment itself may be years past. And still, on certain nights, the bell rings. Not every night. Not on schedule. But it knows its occasions, in the elevator. In the dark, a minute before sleep. The same sentence, the same pause in the middle. Except, listen closely the next time it rings. The voice ringing it is no longer theirs. It rings in your voice now. A bell that outlives its fire does not know the fire is out. It only knows how to ring. So say what the bell is. Say it precisely. The bell was not lying. Something did happen. The wound was real, and no one is asking you to argue with it. But the loudness of a bell was never a census. Loud is not the count. The sentence that rings is one sentence. The years around it were full of ordinary evenings, shared meals, small unannounced kindnesses, people who were glad you were in the room and never thought to say so twice. Quiet nights, by the thousand, that no chronicle wrote down. They did not vanish because they did not matter. They were simply never the bell's job to record. A loud memory is not a majority. It rang loudest. That is all that loudest means. 10,040. Both numbers were always true. Only one of them ever made a sound. Then one last quiet answer came. It did not say the wound was nothing. The bell rang, and the sound mattered. And it did not ask you to force yourself to believe the praise, either. It said something smaller, and better. The chronicle was never wrong. It was incomplete. So tonight, when the bell rings, and it may, you are allowed to ask one small question before the sentence starts again. How many quiet nights were never counted? You do not have to answer with a number. It is enough to remember that they existed, the evenings nothing burned, the winters the river stayed low, the ordinary evenings that ended gently and never became a story you had to carry, the kind words that were true even though they made no sound. The bell can keep its job. But the book is yours. The quiet nights do not have to outnumber the alarms. They only have to be counted.